Hi guys, welcome to a simpler approach. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment and share. Now, a few weeks ago I announced that I am the proud author of a Principles of Accounts textbook. It's called Principles of Accounts for CSEC 2.0, a simpler approach. My book is now available on Amazon Kindle as an ebook. I'm working on the paperback part of things for those who prefer the physical book in hand. I'm working on that. I'll keep you posted on that one. I'm super excited. Yes. Okay, let's get down to business now, having made that announcement and stuff. Okay, let's get serious. Last week, we spoke about errors and the fact that you have some that affect the trial balance and you have some that do not. Last week, we looked at the errors that do not affect the trial balance. Today, we will be looking at the ones that do. Let's get started. In this week's lesson, we will be looking at the errors that affect the trial balance. We will be gaining an understanding of the use of the suspense account, and we will be learning how to correct these errors using the general journal. Let's lay the foundation, shall we? We're looking at a trial balance that is not balanced. When we say totals of all listed accounts, we mean all the balances of the T accounts that you would find. Okay? Visualize it in your mind. Capital, sales, purchases, debtors, creditors, fixed assets specifically. And when they all come together on the debit side, we have 150,000. On the credit side, we have 148,000. So what we have is a trial balance that is not balanced. Now, what we are talking about in this specific case are errors that would result in this kind of thing happening. The trial balance is not balanced. And those errors would boil down to really two things. The debit entry was made, but the credit entry was not. Or the credit entry was made, but the debit entry was not. That's it. That's the root of errors that affect the trial balance. One or the other, was not recorded. So, what do we do? This is where the concept of what we call the suspense account comes in. Let's take a look at what it is. Now, the suspense account is the account that is opened when an error is causing the trial balance not to balance. Now, the suspense account is going to be open, digit T account, and the value of the error will be placed in that T account. Now, there are some things you must remember. Number one, whichever side the shortfall is on, that's the side it is placed on in the suspense account. In our example just now, the shortfall was on the credit side, 2,000. Therefore, in that case, when we open the suspense account, we will put the value of the shortfall on the credit side. The flip side applies. If you're doing an example and the shortfall is on the debit side, then when you open the suspense account, you would put it on the debit side. Okay? Now, what the suspense account does, it holds the value of the error that is causing the trial balance not to balance until that error is found and corrected. Okay? That's the whole essence of the suspense account. In addition to that, errors should be found swiftly. But if it is that those errors aren't found up until the point of the creation of the financial statements or the preparation of the financial statements, then the suspense would have to fit in the financial statements, final accounts. Therefore, if the suspense account have a credit balance, then it must be placed in the balance sheet and is recorded as a current liability. If it falls on the debit side, if the balance is on the debit side, then in the statement of financial position, it is recorded as a current asset. Okay? Just in case you were wondering, when I said balance sheet and then statement of financial position just now, remember that they are both the same thing. The old name is the balance sheet and the new name is the statement of financial position. Remember that, okay? Just clearing that up, just in case. Cool. You're welcome. Now, back to our example. We have placed the $2,000 that was causing the trial balance not to balance in the suspense account, and the trial balance is now balanced. Cool? This is what the account would look like, the suspense account, with the difference in it, the $2,000 on the credit side, because that's the side where the shortfall was on. Okay? So our financial statements have been prepared and suspense is taken care of. Everything is fine. Cool. Then comes the 2nd of May, where we finally realized what was causing the trial balance not to balance. The returns outwards account was undercast by $2,000. Undercast means it was short. There was a shortfall. Okay? The opposite, which is overcast, means it has too much. So overcast, too much. Undercast, too little or short. Cool? So now that we have located the error, we need to fix it. Two things. One, errors are fixed using the general journal, and they are fixed using the double entry process. Two, when the error is fixed, the suspense account must be closed out because it would have solved its purpose, and its purpose is to hold the value of the error until the error is found and fixed. Now that the error is found and will be fixed, it has to be closed. Now, how do we fix this error? The returns outwards account is short by $2,000. How do we put $2,000 in there? We simply credit it. Now, why would you think something like that? That's a very good question. Let me answer it for you. What is a returns outwards account? It is the account that is used when stock is returned to our suppliers. Cool? So you would therefore say that returns outwards account increases when stock is going back to our suppliers. And when it increases, a credit entry is made because when an asset decreases, you credit. So if it is that that's how it works, to put $2,000 in it, you have to credit it. Sounds like sound reasoning, don't it? I think so too. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah. So first things first, we need to close out the suspense account. So look at the simple logics that is going on right here. By logics, I mean double entry logics. If it is that we are going to credit the returns outwards account to put the $2,000 in there, it means that we would have to debit the suspense account in order to close it out. And that's what you're looking at right here. Okay? The returns outwards, because now we've located what the error is. So we put it in the suspense account. Debit side, returns outwards. 2,000, double line, double line. Those two double lines mean what? The account is now closed. Done. Nil. Okay, and now we would have placed in the returns authorized account what is called suspense 2000, and that would just tell us that there was a previous error of 2000. The suspense account was open to hold it. Now we know what the error is, and it is fixed. That's what suspense in the returns authorized account would basically express, because it's not usually there, but it's there now. So what does it mean? That's what it would mean. Okay? Okay, so remember now that errors are fixed using the general journal. So what you see here is not the correction of the error. This is just to show that the suspense account would have to be closed, and it also shows what happens to the returns authorized account. To fix the error the way it is supposed to be fixed, this is what you would actually do. And this is the general journal, as you know. So you would debit the suspense account, credit the returns authorized account, and then place your narrative, as you know. Correction of undercast in returns authorized account. Solves the problem. Okay? Now, this is the process when one error is causing the difference. We're going to look at what happens when multiple errors causes the shortfall in the trial balance. Johnson's Limited shows a difference in the trial balance of $77 on the debit side on the 31st of December 2017. A suspense account was created and the difference was placed in it. Cool. That's fine. So you can visualize the suspense account and the shortfall of $77 being on the debit side. Cool. On January 24, 2018, that's the following accounting period, the following errors were found. 1. We paid a check to D. Lamar of $150. The payment was recorded in the cash book, but was not recorded in Lamar's account. Error number 2. Purchases were undercast by $20. Error number 3. A check of $93 was received from Y. Baxter and was recorded in the cash book, but was not recorded in Baxter's account. Now, as you know, these errors would cause the trial balance not to balance because these errors would have left an important loophole in the double entry process. Something was debited but not credited. Something was credited but not debited. And as we said before, that is the basis upon which an error would cause the trial balance not to balance. In last week, we looked at the errors that exist, but the trial balance would still balance. And in that example, we saw that, debiting and crediting took place, but, other things were outside of the norm, so to speak. All right? So, let us fix these errors. This is what these errors would look like when they are fixed. Now, I'm going to be toggling between the journal and the question so that we can reason out what is happening here and see if it makes sense. Okay? So let's go back for a second. We paid a check to D. Lamar of $150. We paid him the check. The payment was recorded in the cash book. Stick a pin right there. If we paid a check to D. Lamar, it would have meant that a credit entry is necessary in the cash book. That credit entry was made. However, the corresponding entry, which is the debit entry to Lamar's account, was not made. How do we fix this? We simply put it where it is supposed to go. Debit D. Lamar, $150. The opposite, which is the credit entry, the corresponding credit entry, would be to take the $150 that was entered in the suspense account from the suspense account. Okay? So, debit Lamar, credit suspense. Okay? Simple narrative, check paid to D. Lamar omitted from his account. That will suffice. All right, so error 1 is fixed. Let's backtrack a second again. Purchases were undercast by $20. Undercast, once again, means shortfall. So the purchases account has a shortfall. How do we fix this? We simply put the $20 in the purchases account. How do we do that? We debit. Ta-da! Debit the purchases account, $20. What is the corresponding action? Credit the suspense account. Once again, why? Because at the end of the day, well, at the end of this situation, the suspense account must be closed out because all the errors would have been solved, fixed, corrected. Cool? That's error number 2. Error number 3. A check of $93 was received from Y. Baxter and was recorded in the cash book, but not in Baxter's account. All right? We received a check. The check came to us. Now, being recorded in the cash book meant that a debit entry was made because we received cash. Cash is an asset. When asset increase, you debit. So a debit entry was made in the cash book. But the corresponding credit entry in Baxter's account, that was not done. How do we fix that? We simply put it there. Okay? So if Baxter's account is credited, it means the corresponding action will be to debit the suspense account. Okay? So we credit Baxter's account to put the information where it was supposed to go in the first place and debit suspense, which would naturally be the corresponding action. Because remember, double entry says you should debit something, credit something. There we have it. Okay? And then a simple narrative. Check received, omitted from Baxter's account. And I don't remember if I had looked at the narrative for the purchases one. Undercast of $20 now corrected. Okay? Simple, easy, straightforward. That would correct all 3 errors. Now remember, when errors are corrected, this is what you do in the general journal. But just in case you want to see, I have created the suspense account for you. This is what the suspense account will look like. So in the upper right hand corner where you see balance carried down, that's the action following the trial balance being short of $77. The suspense account was opened, the accounting period closed, and the error was not found. So you would balance off the account and go over into 2018. Now that the errors are found, when they are all fixed, as you can see there, the account is closed. So you have the balance of $77. Then we take care of Baxter's situation, 93. And then we have Lamar and the purchases on the credit side, which would balance it out at 170. So the errors are found, fixed, and the suspense account is no more. That is it for this lesson for today. That's what suspense account is all about. And in my experience, I've met students who are so afraid of the suspense account. And I think I understand why. It can be a little tricky. But once again, as long as you remember previous topics that are essential to understanding future topics, then 60% of your work is done. Okay? So, as you saw just now, we used up our double entry to a great degree. And once you remember double entry, it will be easy for you to go through suspense account because you would have already had the foundation. All right? I hope the information is clear. I hope you learned something. And I hope that suspense account was made clearer using a simpler approach. If you enjoyed that video, please subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and share. And as always, if you have any questions, queries, or concerns, please share them in the comments section below, and I will respond to you
directly. Also, I'm super grateful for all the persons who have been subscribing, watching, and commenting, especially those with kind words to offer me. I am super, super grateful. Until next time, walk good, stay safe.